People tell me I'm good under pressure.
Okay, what else?
And I'm good at solving issues.
Okay, what kind of issues? People issues, system issues, or thing issues, like fixing a car or fixing an engine.
Yes. I'm a bit.
Oh, come on. Try to help me out here, man. I'm working hard for you.
I know.
No. Well, I'm trying, but I can only have as much fun as you allow me to. So, when you said you were good at managing, is that managing people or processes?
People.
Okay. And so when you solve problems, what are the problems that you most like to solve? Since you're good at everything, what are the problems you most like to solve? I said people problems, process problems, or thing problems. Which one do you like? And this is the love part. Which one of those problems do you love to solve most?
I love to solve the problem that keeps the process moving.
All right, so process problems. Okay, people are a part of, don't overthink this. You can't overthink. You gotta let your heart talk to you. That's the problem. You think too much. And it's been a long time since you really allowed your heart to lead. Am I right?
Right.
Okay. So, you're good with people skills. You're good at managing people. That's a leadership skill is what that is. And you're a good problem solver. And the problems that you were best at solving are process related, but you also have the people skills to plug in the people issues. But the problems you're most excited about is a disorganized team or a dysfunctional system. And you go, oh, I want to fix that, right?
Right.
So what are the results that matter most to you? Are you driven by efficiency and order? Or are you driven by solving people problems? Which I don't want to confuse you, so I probably set you up for massive thinking on that one. But would you rather create results for people or within processes, which have a direct effect on people?
I like to have the process that has direct effect on people.
Yeah, I think you're a process guy. So what would you do? Turn your brain on for a second. If I gave you the dream tomorrow, and it may not be the only dream, but it's the latest dream on your list, because it changes probably every 15 minutes, if I've got you nailed right.
You got me now.
But what's the dream that you want right now? If I gave it to you, you knew you couldn't fail, and here's the kicker for you. You don't have to commit to it for the rest of your working career. But you get to try it, and you know you can't fail, and it's just a fun adventure. What are you doing?
I'm training people.
Okay. How often has that theme popped up in your mind over the last 30 years, this idea of being an instructor? Let me give you that word. This role of I'm instructing people.
In the last, say, 20 years, I realized, well, I was training one guy and I realized why I never trained him.
Yeah, tell me why you want to
He understands now.
He got it in his head and became more and more light bulbs were in two different places. Right? What was the light bulb going in his head? Was he hiding that for your heart? As cheesy as it sounds, that's the best way I can help you understand what's happening. Your heart was full. Because that's a role that you love to play. So yes, you're driven by processes and efficiency, but there's a human element in you too, so don't overthink or make it quicker. The reality is that the dream is right now, and you suspect that there's a great drive and process. You've got to stop pushing yourself and figure out please. It's full maximization that I have impact to an exponential level. I think that's what you get out of it. I think So where can you train? What industry? Multiple industries? Absolutely. I think you need to do an exercise and go search all of the different corporate training type jobs. And then get excited about the topic or the specialty area that you want to train. There's your answer. This is the Kentucky Job. Located in Ramsey, weeknights at 6. Talk Radio 1270. During these crazy times, the best advice I can give you is control. What you can fix today gives you hope for tomorrow. Let's start looking at major expenses like your monthly rent or your house payment. Folks, mortgage interest rates are so low. Now is the time to invest in your future. In just 10 minutes. Is cash through a smarter mortgage plan. If you're a renter, you can learn how to buy a home the right way. Or if you're already a homeowner, you can learn how to save thousands in interest through a simple refinance. Like I said, control the controllables and contact Churchill. To speak to a specialist, call 888-LOAN-200 or go to churchillmortgage.com. This is a paid advertisement. NMLS ID 1591. NMLS Consumer Access Federal. Equal Housing Lender. 1749 Mallory Lane, Sweetwater, Richmond, Tennessee 37327.
Present.
Vice Mayor Harden.
Present.
Commissioner Warren.
Here.
Commissioner Limboker.
Here.
Commissioner Martinez is absent. We have a full quorum, Your Honor.
Thank you. Would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ronnie, would you give us the invocation?
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you again for this beautiful day that you've given us, and we're thankful that we can meet like this and conduct the city's business, and we ask that you'll be with each of us, guide us, lead us, be with our city, and we're thankful that you've kept us healthy, and it's been challenging for everybody in the community, different things going on, and we're thankful that you've been with us, and we ask for guidance on some of those issues, and we just ask that you'll be with each of us as we go home this evening and be with our families, and we're thankful for all that you've done for us. We ask for all these things in your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Ronnie.
Thank you, Ronnie. We have no awards or presentations. We'll move on to the approval of the agenda, and we need to make some changes. We'll make the Liberal High School Council number 5 and focus on the future. We will make number 9 after the Halloween discussion. So can I have
I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Harden to approve the agenda as amended. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Now, on the minutes, we have 4-0, I'm sorry. On the minutes, we have a correction on number 3. It should state that instead of Taylor Harden being absent, Tony Martinez was absent. And number 9, where it says purchase, it should say sell property. And I have a motion to approve the amended
Make a motion to approve the amended September 8th, 2020 regular meeting minutes.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Harden, second by Commissioner Lindenbroker to approve the September 28th, 2020 regular meeting minutes as corrected. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries 4-0. Can I have approval of the consent agenda?
Make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as printed.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Harden, second by Commissioner Warren to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries 4-0. The next item is Liberal High School Student Council.
Good evening.
Hello.
My name.
Would you tell us all your names, please?
Yes, I will. My name is Taya Siever, and I'm the Stuco president. And here is Brady Kappelman, Bregan Zimmerman, and Tia Lanier.
Welcome.
Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you for having us. We really appreciate it. So today we were here to present our idea of having a fireworks show in the East parking lot after the homecoming game. We thought it would be a good idea because, as we know, our parade has been canceled and our Powder Puff game, which is also very popular at our school. And we were thinking that a firework presentation would be a good idea because it's an easy way to social distance. It'd be in the time span less than 10 minutes, so even if they were outside, it would be over by the time they'd get back in their cars. And everyone would be able to see it from their house. So I feel like it'd be very memorable and exciting. We've never done anything like it before. And we're thinking it'd be a really good idea for homecoming, just to let everything be memorable this year.
When is homecoming?
The homecoming is the week of October 2nd, and it'll be that night at the football game. Well, after the football game.
After the football.
And we had planned on Chief Kelly being here. He just texted me he's at a fire. And so.
It's a good place to be.
Yeah. But he had talked.
Does he know anything? Okay.
Yeah, he had talked to Alicia, and it does follow under the fire chief's purview. And I believe he was.
The commission just has to make a motion and approve it, and I've given them the application to fill out, and then they can bring it in tomorrow. And if it's approved, if the commission agrees to it, they'll bring it in and we'll get it going.
Fantastic. And from the conversations you guys had with Chief Kelly, he seemed to be on board with this?
He had no problem with the fireworks.
Terrific. I'll make a motion that we approve the Liberal High School to be able to do a fireworks show in the East parking lot on the evening of October the 2nd after homecoming.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Harden, second by Commissioner Lindenbroker to approve a fireworks show after the homecoming in the East parking lot after the football game. Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you.
You didn't even have to shed tears. She was prepared to shed tears.
Well, tears of happiness, maybe.
Yes, tears of happiness. We really appreciate that.
Absolutely.
This will be very memorable and let everybody be excited for it. And I feel like a lot of people would participate. So thank you so much.
Thank you guys for coming. We're looking forward to seeing
Appreciate the
it.
support.
Okay, thank you.
You guys have an excellent night.
You too.
Okay. The next item is wastewater agreement plan, number 16.
And you-
6.
And you should have two sets of documents that came from William Carr State. It's Mach 1 and Mach 2. What we're really entertaining is looking at Mach 2. Now I'm gonna lie to you, 4 or 5 years ago when the rates were set, prior to me, they included the normal fee from National Beef into the rate study. Well, as we know, National has went to irrigation and we only received discharge, 3 months, 4 months this year? Give or take. Yeah. So and I've talked to William Carr, we're okay for loan payments for this year. It could get real tight until we start seeing what our flow rate is going to be from National, what the operating cost is for the new plant. And rather than look at a rate change, we're proposing that we pay interest and $100 principal for the next 3 years. which I think Chris said fits, and this is strictly just for the construction loan. It doesn't, we're okay on the engineering part, correct? So that staff is requesting that you give Chris and I permission to negotiate with KDHE to get this 3-year reduction, payment reduction in there.
And just for the public's sake, I just want to ask you to reiterate, so this will not result in a rate increase?
No.
Okay, perfect.
Well, I say no, we'll evaluate it in 3 years, and
Yeah.
our anticipation is the new plant's gonna operate less cost than what it costs to keep the dinosaur running, and we will be seeing flow rates in from National Beef. So I would like to say a maybe, a definite no, but
Well, I was just
there's always a maybe to everything.
Yeah, I was just mainly meaning this meeting because I had a couple people called that were basically like, hey, is this going to result in a loan or a rate increase? And I didn't think it would, but I wanted to make sure that was clearly stated.
And the other thing is bear in mind that every year, water and wastewater goes up 3%. So we're hoping to see over a 3-year period, that 3%, reduce operating cost, increase flow back from national. Hey, if everything goes great and we have a crystal ball, we might can lower rates.
Yeah, absolutely.
But my crystal ball is broke, so I honestly don't know.
I think everybody's crystal ball is broke this year.
So are you needing a motion to do something?
We need a motion to negotiate with KDH&E, right?
Okay.
Yes, for the Mach 2 agreement,
Mach
for
2
the 3-year
agreement.
payment reduction.
I'll make a motion that we negotiate with KDHE for the Mach 2 loan agreement.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Harden, to negotiate with KDH&E a 3-year payment reduction with Mach 2 plan. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries.
Good luck, gentlemen.
Well, I've already talked to William. This is his proposal.
Okay, so luck's out of the
It's just a
equation.
matter, we will be bringing the formal documents back to you for your approval.
Fantastic.
And so we'll just let you know when that comes. It's just a housekeeping item.
The next item is City Hall disinfectant system.
Okay, for those of you, I think I shared it mainly with everybody, but when COVID first hit, we were looking at how we can better disinfect and keep clean air and stuff. And I went to Earl's Engineering and Dave Jansen went out to his experts, and they came back with the RGF system or the fawn stock. Well, we're kind of down to just the RGF that Moody installs, is because fawn stock sent us in there somewhere. I gave you guys a lot of fluff. The only thing that really matters is the quote from Moody Heating. But fawn stock said, the other company said they wouldn't come to Wichita and put it in, or come from Wichita to Liberal and put it in writing. And the manufacturer of these will only sell to their vendors. So I can't go to a local vendor because they won't sell it to them. And so what we're requesting is number one, and the quote is for $9,925 to install the system. The guy came out on a pre-inspection and went through the entire building with Kent, went up on the roof, and he charged me $631.50, which he was out here. Did you go with him at all, Kevin? I don't remember.
No, I didn't.
It was just Kent.
Yeah, just.
But it changed some of the stuff that we needed, but
No free estimates, huh?
well, the estimate was free, but to get an exact quote, what we needed and do it right. And the key reason I went through Earl's and had Dave sit down, because there's a lot of smoke and mirror stuff out there. The engineers and their people say this works, we'll have clean air, even during flu season, it disinfects the air, it moves it out, it helps people with asthma. Like 2 of us are in this room. So.
Absolutely. Now, you don't need a separate motion for the $631.50, do you? Because that's inside your purview.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
actually, I have to pay that regardless.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the other thing is from the Chris side, do we want to make this decision to do this, or do we want to request as one of the COVID
CARES Act money.
projects, or do we want to do it and request to be refunded? And then Chris has got to scramble where we get 10 grand from.
Well, so, I mean, my recommendation would be that we apply for the COVID funds to be able to do this, because this is directly related to that. We would have never done this outside of having a pandemic. So my recommendation would be that we request the funds before expending any funds and see what the availability of getting those funds are. That way it buys us time to be able to find the 10 grand if we do not get approved through CARES Act funding to be able to do this project.
Do we have source for the 10 grand without it?
Talking with Cal, I believe that contingency line in the general fund would be a good option should the commission decide to implement this system. I know I'm looking at this a few different ways. I know there's a 3-month lead time, and depending on, I mean, who knows what's going to happen tomorrow, and definitely if things continue on the trend, and should we ever consider ourselves in a situation like we were in the fall, or in the spring, then have another, essentially when there was a lockdown, everybody still reported to work, and I know we've had some situations with COVID, just trying to keep operations going. But it's definitely in the commission's, within your decision, and like I said, should the commission decide to purchase it and then go for funding, we would be able to accommodate that.
Let's throw Mr. Standard under the bus.
How are we this evening, Greg?
Off the top of your head, is this something that if we did would be eligible for reimbursement?
Not asking you to tell us that we would get reimbursed, but is it something that would fall under the purview of reimbursement through the CARES Act funding?
Here, I can show you real quick.
Yes, sir, I do believe that this would be eligible for, I apologize, but I always hate it when people talk from the back and the people that are somewhere else.
Thank you very much for coming up.
But that would be my understanding, that would be an eligible project. Whether it'll be approved or not,
Yeah. So we have about the same chance whether we pay for it up front and request reimbursement, or?
I was going to say,
I think reimbursement is the better option.
Okay.
Because that gives you, how do I want to say this? I believe you when you said, I needed this and I went and spent my money to get it because it was so important that we needed to do it. And then it's a little harder to buy into, if you give me the money, I really need it. And if you don't, then we won't really need it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wait,
absolutely.
thank you very much, Greg, and I apologize for putting you on the spot.
No, that was a very valuable opinion.
I'd have just winged it.
Yep, no, that was a very valuable opinion.
Greg, why don't you sit up one of those chairs up here, right here, at the table?
By Chris?
This table?
You sit right on it.
Sit in one of those chairs, because
Not by him.
you'll be up again here shortly.
Okay, so I think that clarifies it, that we're probably better off to request for reimbursement.
Yeah,
Works for me.
Thanks for being here, Greg.
yeah, absolutely. Appreciate the opinion.
Okay, can we have a motion to accept the bid from RGF Environmental Air
Yeah,
System?
before I make the motion.
Moody Heating and Air.
Moody Heating and Air. Yeah, before I make the motion, the only thing I want to know is, what am I supposed to actually call this? The PHI PKG? As far as what we're purchasing for the amount from Moody Heat and Air?
Yeah, there's two of them.
So if we just say the PHI PKG units?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll make a motion that we approve the purchase of the PHI PKG units from Moody Heat and Air Conditioning in the amount of $9,925.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Harden, second by Commissioner Lindenbroker, that we purchase the PPG units from Moody Heating and Air Conditioning for the amount of $9,925. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries.
So now if anybody gets sick, we can say they didn't do it at City Hall.
The next item is Halloween.
Okay, I think you guys all got an email, and we'll throw it great. There's some state recommendations. I mean, as far as people going door to door, I mean, I don't think we can stop that. I mean, if you don't want to be bothered, don't turn your light on. But the question is, Like some of these groups that do the trick-or-treating type of thing, the church groups. Oh, here you go. If anybody doesn't have that.
Everybody have it?
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess what we're asking the commission, and then I think I should have forwarded all of you an email from Brad Beer. His recommendation is that like all our rental properties, like the Girl Scout building, and that we temporarily, and Greg can tell us better, but the numbers are going up. And that we temporarily do not rent them, especially for any events right now. And kind of wait till we hear a little bit more from EOC on where our numbers at before we open them back up for rentals. Because if Chris has a party and then Taylor has one 2 hours later, we don't have time to disinfect it. And both of you are going to be pointing fingers at where the problem came from. So
separate than the Halloween topic you're talking about.
Yeah, well, it all involves at Halloween because
We actually asked the EOC members to come in and speak to the commission on this subject, to kind of give us a little guidance on the different topics.
On what we should or shouldn't allow. I mean, bottom line is if one of the churches wants to have trick or treat out of the trunk, I don't know that we can actually stop them. We can just recommend that they do the social distancing and do the best they can.
Follow the guidelines that KDHE set.
Yeah. Well, EOC, floor is yours.
Martha or Ada, are you going to talk to us, or?
Martha's going to want to talk as well, I'm sure.
Okay.
Yeah. See, I didn't throw you on the bus, Martha. Craig did.
Let me put that, I know that I always value Martha's opinion, and I'm sure you will as well, so.
Thank you all very much for coming.
Okay, so basically, we had quite a meeting today, and what we found was, amongst our EOC group, that we're at approximately the same place that we were, numbers-wise, on May the 11th. At that point in time, our gathering limits were 15 or less. 6-foot social distancing was strongly encouraged. Masks were strongly encouraged. Employers were strongly encouraged to participate in telework, and we were to minimize and avoid non-essential travel. And that's just to give us an idea of where we were. I don't know if all of those guidelines were perfect, but we did drop. Our number of cases dropped when we were under those restrictions. Presently, not today, I'm sorry, yesterday, we had 19 people with COVID in the hospital. That is stretching the limits of what the hospital is capable of handling. In addition, school has started back up, and I think, we have to have some priorities as we look at our community, and keeping businesses open and in operation, and keeping our hospital open and operation, keeping our schools open and operation, have got to be very near the top of that list. If we get too many people sick, that's going to challenge our businesses to stay open because of the lack of employees. It's going to challenge the schools to stay open, either due to lack of staff and/or conditions becoming unsafe for students to be in the buildings. And we really, really don't want those things to happen. So as much as we all enjoy Halloween, and as much as we all enjoy large gatherings and all of those types of things, personally, the EOC recommends that we curtail those activities until we can get the numbers under control and feel like we're trending down again. At the moment, we're pretty confident, and I say pretty confident all this month, week to week, we've been increasing in the number of new cases. We have, at this point, 200, or as of yesterday, 270 active cases. I think I know that's gone up by approximately 20 that were done at our test site using the rapid test. That's not going to include other facilities that are doing testing as well. So with that in mind, and I want to share one other thing too. I did see a a bit of news today that we were at 19% for the month of September for our testing, and we've been higher in the past. And that's true. However, one thing has changed significantly in September. As we got COVID into some long-term care facilities, we're now testing all of their staff and all of their patients, even those without symptoms, and that's a lot of people. Previously, we've not done that. We've only tested symptomatic people. There have been a few exceptions, but not very many. So when we were testing people that we were sick, there was a high probability that they were going to be positive. Now our numbers reflect that group, but also a group that there's a high probability that they're negative. So it's making the percentage sound not as bad as we were. I don't believe that's true. I think our percentage is just as bad as we were back in April and May, and so we probably need to be very careful as we move forward. And Martha?
Good evening, Martha.
I didn't know I was coming till the last minute, and I don't probably have a lot to add, but, on our call today, I just pointed out that, we've had so many people that, we talked to most of these people personally, not me. I'd still be on the phone with the first one if it were up to me, because I do that. But, everybody was anxious to get out and go to parties and have graduations and do those kinds of things, and I don't blame them. It's fun to do things, but every time they have a big event of some sort, whether it's a wedding or a quince out in the country or, whatever, there ends up being 10, 12 people positive, and there's family members that are especially at risk for complications that end up in hospital. And, it's just the less we do, the better off we're going to be. And Halloween will survive without trunk things. I never did that when I was little. Went door to door for about 3 or 4 blocks was about it. But, I think people are going to do that anyway. And like I said, you can, don't turn your light on if you don't want kids coming. And they did, I know with KDHE, it was all these recommendations not to participate in these things. But if you do, try to not bunch up when you're walking down the sidewalks, and stay with your family members and all those kinds of things, which I think are important regardless. But, people are going to trick or treat, and there'll probably be some parties anyway. You can't stop them. But if there's something that can be limited, I would encourage, if you guys have any say-so in any of it, I would encourage you to do so. So I guess that's all. I'm not good with all those percentages and stuff. I'll tell you, it just blows my mind.
That's no problem at all, Martha. We appreciate your input.
All right.
I might kind of add one other thing. I know they didn't do that when Martha was a kid, but we
didn't have sidewalks.
We did. We did it out of the back of the Conestoga coach when I was a kid. So a little before cars, I guess. So I think the other factor that I kind of wanted to bring up is I think in our discussion today, we kind of maybe realized that in our, with our feelings of that we really didn't want to restrict anything, and most of us would normally participate in many of these things ourselves. So these are things we all enjoy, and we really don't want to restrict anything. But reality is that probably we need to put out some guidelines for people so they can plan in advance, more in advance than we can right now. We're starting to hear people coming to us and asking for advice, and so maybe we can generate that in the next few days or week and get that out to people so that it's a little easier for folks to understand what might be coming and how they can best approach these things as they want to move forward with planning for events. So we will try to get that to y'all and everyone in the community. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So I guess first thing that comes to my mind on this is that, especially since we have a county commissioner in the room, I mean, wouldn't it make more sense for any kind of COVID guidelines to come from a county level, since then it's encompassing the entire city of Liberal and then also the city of Kismet and the entire county as a whole, rather than just the city of Liberal and its citizens within its jurisdiction? That is not me trying to punt the responsibility of this, because very literally all we're telling people is follow the KDHE guidelines. But I would assume that any kind of restrictive activity would need to come from the county rather than the city, just because then it's encompassing all the cities.
In our case, it would come from EOC. We can throw Greg under the bus on that.
Yeah.
Well, in the past, we have followed your recommendations,
Right.
so
Yeah.
we're waiting for you to give us published recommendations.
First, I want to say, last night at our meeting, we did have some groups have been talking to us too about when we're going to increase, how many people are going to be allowed into our buildings, like the activity center and things. We all voted last night, we're going to stay with what we have. We're not going to increase. We're going to watch the numbers, because I also have an event coming up in December with the craft show, and whether we're going to have it or not depends on what our numbers look like. And so we've got to just watch that really close. We have a lot of events that have canceled out of both buildings because we just can't have them out there. They're not safe. And so today at our EOC meeting, one of the discussions we had is maybe we need to, as a group, come up with a guideline. Maybe go back and look at the processes and the phases and the stuff that we have used in the past. Maybe come up with something, because we're starting to see the numbers going up just like they were back in May. So that was our discussion today, and we probably as a group will get together and maybe come up with some basic guidelines that everybody can follow, because we all need to stay on the same. We can't say this is what it is and you shouldn't say it's something different, because that doesn't represent the community well.
Well, and that's realistically why I mentioned what I just did, because the city is never going to try to conflict with you guys on any kind of guidelines that you pass. And so far throughout this entire pandemic, every time you guys pass something, we're in full support of it and say, okay, the county has guidelines, the EOC has guidelines, the city recommends going with those guidelines. And so that was why I kind of recommended that this is something that you guys pass, is because then it encompasses all of Seward County. So Kismet, Liberal, all the same rules, same guidelines, same recommendations, and then we'll back your recommendations by informing, during our commission meetings that we recommend for people to follow the recommendations that the EOC has passed.
And so the one thing I want to say that I don't know if a lot of people realize, EOC is not just the county. It has got a lot of the county.
But representatives from all the...
From the city, the college, the schools, the hospital. We have people from everybody in the community there making those decisions.
Absolutely.
Because it affects everybody. So anyway, that's one of the main things we discussed at the meeting, is maybe start looking at not this is the rules, but a guideline that we can give out to people. This is what we're requesting. We want to stay safe for the community.
Yeah.
We don't want our numbers to go up anymore.
Absolutely. Well, and we'll, help in any way we can, like City Manager Burke said about, closing the public facilities back down to make sure that they're not able to be rented, anything like that. But yeah, we'll follow any recommendations that you guys lay out for the community to follow and reinforce those. It's just, to me seems kind of redundant for the lowest people on the totem pole, which is us, to pass anything whenever anything that you guys pass would be higher than us anyway and would completely negate it if it did conflict. And so, we'll support everything that you guys want to do. I just think it should, as a citizen, actually, I would feel more comfortable with it coming from the actual people that have the authority to make those decisions, because the city really doesn't. A lot of the cities that have been passing these really don't have the jurisdictional authority to do that, because then their county or their emergency management can come in right above them and basically negate everything that they passed via resolution. So, once you guys get together, and we can have as many city commissioners there as you guys want, but we'll absolutely reinforce any guidelines that you guys set out.
Right, and we have Kelly, who's great representation for you, is at all the meetings, and so he's always got your input that he's always giving us too. So we'll be working on that. That was just something we discussed today at our 4 o'clock meeting. So
terrific.
Now, you said the activity center, you're still having it open?
The activity center is open, but out there, the way we have came up with it is we went by the measurement of 10 square foot per person. 10 by 10, 100 square foot. So that doesn't leave a whole lot of people. I think the maximum is 223 people in the building. When normally you could get 2,000 in the building. So, and the ag building is the same way. I think it's 68 or something, not very many. And so what we're looking at is most places can't have their event because they couldn't even get a small percentage of it.
I was asking that because I was wondering, before you closed the city buildings, did we have anybody that had was wanting to rent them, and if they were small parties instead of large parties, if we should actually put a number on it instead of completely not renting them.
Well, and I don't know. I mean, where is your guys, as far as the EOC, where is your guys' opinion on if we were to rent out any of the facilities, if we had people sign a liability waiver? I mean, is that something that's even applicable to these situations, or?
You need to, I think, be careful on it, just saying with liability, because then people are going to go, well, it's going to be on us, and we can let it.
Back 100 people that get all filled up with COVID, yeah.
We don't want that to happen. That's what
Absolutely.
we're trying to keep from happening.
Okay.
So, okay.
Well, and have we even had that many people trying to lease the buildings this year?
Alicia,
The other problem is keeping track
do
of
you
the
know where
Yeah.
Matt's at on rentals? Did Brad or Matt?
Well, that was one question we had that staff had, was what is your opinion on, do we continue to rent the buildings? Sometimes they have, I think they mentioned up to from 100 to 200 people in our buildings. So that's an issue that we need to talk about. And then I know, I was just asking Greg, but there's a block party at one of our parks, October 3rd, where Corey Barnett told Matt he thinks there's going to be over 1,000 people there. So that may be something else. We just kind of need some guidance on what you guys think, or if we need to wait until we have the guidelines, we can do that.
Yeah. I mean, I would think on the block party, we wait till we have the guidelines. But I mean, on the building rentals, I mean, can't we just say that the facilities are unavailable and then allow them to rent out the park? That way they're in open air and they can spread out and still use, still have access to the public facilities, but not actually go indoor at the facilities where it removes the liability off the taxpayers? Something along those lines?
You can make a motion right now to close the rental of public buildings for the time being. If you guys could, or you can delegate that to city staff too. It just depends on what y'all want to do.
So-
I think limiting it to a number is a bad idea, because how are you going to police that?
Yeah.
And just like some of these other things, their recommendation, their guidelines, but as far as enforcement, pretty near impossible to enforce this. Yeah, it's good to stand behind something and say, look, these are the guidelines. We want you all to be safe. We want you to follow them. But people still have to voluntarily follow them.
Absolutely.
I think the only way we can enforce this is to not rent the building.
Yeah.
So my
Go
question-
back to the way
My
we
question
were.
again, though, is do we have the buildings rented at all, or no?
Has there even been a demand?
I believe there's one rental that I know of for sure right now. But I think they were still leery on what if a big group comes in and wants to rent the building.
So
They knew what was coming.
they're aware that it may not be something they can do. So it's not like
I think
something
we
they're
were just
depending
waiting-
on.
Staff's just waiting on
Yeah,
some
okay,
direction.
yeah.
And we have a list of people wanting to use the activity center, but we know what their numbers are, and a lot of them have already canceled their events. There's still a few waiting, and we've told them, okay, well, closer to your event, we'll look at what the numbers are. If the numbers keep going up, things are not going to change. So,
Well, and I don't see it being that big of a loss to close down our public facilities. I mean, surely people understand.
No, it's not a huge revenue maker for the city.
Exactly.
I mean, it's a quality of life issue.
Yeah, I was more concerned that if somebody had some event that they'd planned for a long time and they may not have a place to go, was what I was concerned. But like Taylor said, if they could still go to the
park and be
or
outside.
something, we could make a suggestion of something that's available
But
that they could do. But
can we leave
so
the
I'm-
restrooms out?
Yeah.
I mean, because are we considering this part of it?
Well, as long as we have the parks open, we kind of leave the restrooms open. And we did put hand sanitizer in all of them. And I don't know how many of them we have left. And
Hand sanitizer bottles? Probably
yeah,
none,
they
probably
actually
zero.
would go in and open the dispenser and pull the bag out.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me at all if somebody took a bucket and was just like, yeah, and filled it up on their own.
They figured out how to open them and pull the dispenser bag out.
So if we wanted to make a motion to shut down the public rental facilities, is that the way we would want to word it, to where we're not closing down the parks and the restrooms or city hall or any other public
I
facilities?
would just say enclosed.
Closed rental.
Because that would leave
Enclosed rental
gazebos and stuff like that, and the shelter's still open.
And Ron, I apologize, I did not mean to interrupt your statement.
No, it's all right.
Does anybody, before I make the motion, does anybody else have anything they'd like to discuss on it? Yes, sir?
I do have a question. when you're discussing city facilities, I know we have a community meeting room over at the Chamber of Commerce that they occasionally will allow groups to come in and use and whatever, rent and whatnot. Would that apply to them as well, or?
I would think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're carried by the city as far as the insurance on that building, right?
But just to be aware that would potentially also affect their
Ability to do that.
ability to do that.
Surely they don't have that much coming up. I mean, in a year where we had a pandemic, surely there's not a lot of people planning
There's an
events.
election in November, though, so is there people, politicians coming in?
Oh, true. Do your town hall in the park.
Political,
Yeah.
Well, I know there's occasionally groups that will meet there, just such as, focus on the future and knowing that like you said, the elections are coming up there, potentially candidates coming in and so like I said, just be aware that could potentially affect that as well.
But they don't pay rent. The chamber doesn't pay rent to use that building, because those are chamber-sponsored things.
No, but I do believe they themselves do charge a room use fee.
Yes, if someone wants to have a birthday party in there. So I think that's what we're trying to shut down, are those type of things, is my thought on that.
Well, and also, I guess I would want to know, this wouldn't affect South Middle School, correct?
No, because we don't rent anything out.
Okay.
Just thinking out loud too, the Memorial Library potentially do have some community rooms.
Are they rented?
Yeah.
Dang it.
Some of them are rented.
I would assume that they would use their best
They're not renting.
discretion on that.
They're not renting right now. The buildings are the rooms that they aren't being rented.
Perfect.
Public.
I think if you're gonna do it, you need to do it to all of them. If you're gonna take the opinion and stance that, hey, we're worried about cases increasing, we're gonna keep it from increasing, at least for our buildings that we own, that are rented, we should just not do it anymore. That's my opinion, for what it's worth.
No, it's worth a lot. Definitely worth a lot.
Yes.
Well, I'll make a motion for us to temporarily, I guess I would say I'd make a motion to temporarily cut off all enclosed rental buildings from public use. Will that work? Okay, beautiful.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Harden, second by Commissioner Warren, to temporarily cut off all enclosed rental buildings for public use. Any discussion? All in favor? 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you all very much for the information on that.
And as far as then Halloween, then we're on that deal is we're just recommending they wear a mask under their mask. So anyway.
We will await your emergency management.
Yeah,
we'll await your guys' decision and then reinforce that in our next meeting.
Thank you guys for your.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you very much.
Okay.
All right. I guess this next item with the focus, I will run with it and hope if I need, I get help from Connie and Ronnie. Because it was senior rec night and that's why we moved to the end, because Earl was going to present this and try and be here. On the renewal of the 1 cent sales tax, that we are not allowed to promote a yes vote or anything. All we can do is advocate, this is what we've done. So the focus group, they promote it, advertise it, and this is kind of just being transparent because they weren't sure, or I should say we, because 3 of us are on the focus group. We weren't sure what the advertising costs were going to be in the beginning. So to get them started, I used my authority to give them the $5,000. They have since came up, they're asking for $3,348, which falls in my purview, but when you add the 2 together, it comes up $8,348. So just to be transparent, and the commission is completely aware, this is what the total advertising cost is the focus is asking that the commission would award them $3,348 more for the advertising. And I think you guys all have it. They've got the breakdown of what everything's going for.
Well, I can tell you the cost of that advertising is a heck of a lot less than the cost of it not passing. Make a motion that we approve the funding request from Focus on the Future for advertising for the 1 cent sales tax vote in the amount of $3,348.
Wait, you gonna let a second?
I was gonna let you second because I was on the focus.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's not a conflict for me, second, it is a second.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Harden, second by Commissioner Warren to approve the funding for the 1 cent sales tax advertising for the Focus on the Future in the amount of $3,348. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries 4-0. Next item is city staff.
Hill ran off.
I was gonna say, I'll
Alicia's.
mention, the traffic maintenance put out a message today that on Thursday, September 24th, from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m., they'll be working on the power in that area, so that intersection will have a 4-way stop. So, and that has been put on social media and a website, I believe.
Thank you for the information.
And then we will also have a department head meeting on October 6th at 9 a.m. The session is invited to attend.
Thank
And it
you.
will be at the Girl Scout building, and we're not renting it.
And just so you know, the agenda, the primary agenda will be to review the revised HR policy manual. It's been cleaned up and streamlined.
Can we get copies of that before that meeting? Thank you.
I thought I forwarded it to all of you on the link.
You might have.
But I just thought, I'm old and senile, so I thought I was going to.
Unless you did it today.
Is that on the email that I never read?
Yeah, it wasn't, yeah.
Anyway,
Okay, thank you.
do you want hard copies or?
I love hard copies.
Okay, well, actually, you probably should have both because it actually is set up so when you click on that link, if you want to know about this policy, you click there and it takes you right to it. It's really streamlined.
But I need a hard copy so I can write on it.
Yep.
Okay.
So,
We'll give you all hard copies in,
Okay.
the automated copy.
Okay, thank
Fantastic.
you. We're babies, aren't we? Okay. Anything else from city staff? The next item is items from citizens. Does anyone want to speak to the commission? Please state your name, limited to 5 minutes.
Get them out of here. You're the racist. You have privilege. Quit killing your own people. The reason your people are dying is because you're criminals running from the cops. Go back to your country. You're lucky the police are here or you'd be bleeding out on those fields. These were some of the comments that were made by several people at the Trump rally over the weekend to the young group of protesters. Our group consisted of mostly younger minorities. And it's very disheartening to see and disappointing. Some of the threats came from a USD 480 teacher. There was someone also there from SEC. I've made these reports known to them and I filed those reports, but I want to address these issues because we have an issue in our community. The El Paso shooting that occurred last year targeted Mexicans. It was an anti-immigrant manifesto. I feel like as leaders, you guys have the power to prevent issues. You guys have the power to denounce racism, bigotry, and division in the community. Just because it doesn't affect you directly doesn't mean we're not living it. Doesn't mean that people aren't feeling this in the community. So my fear is that with the ideology that's being spread throughout our community, we need you guys to stand up. We need you guys to speak. We need you guys to stand in solidarity to those that don't have the voice, that wish that could come up here and speak to you guys because they can't. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen.
Okay, we'll move on to the city manager's report.
Well, first of all, I'll apologize for missing 2 consecutive meetings. Hopefully, between my grandson and I, we can stay away from the surgeon for a little while. And I want to thank Brad for stepping in and filling in. And from what I haven't heard any bad reports, so I guess he did a good job. So maybe he should be here all the time. The other thing is, and Ada left on me, I received a call yesterday from April, and on October 19th, they're doing, in their chambers, they are doing the early voting. They want to know the possibility of using our commission chambers. And since we had used theirs before, I kind of said, well, I don't see a problem with it, but I will share that. And I said, we'll just have to make sure the courtroom is cleared by then. Unless you guys see a problem with that.
Anytime the county.
If you were still here, you guys are good to go.
Yeah, anytime the county needs to use city facilities, we'd be more than happy.
And the next item, and this is just a discussion, we should have a package with Epic Touch on it. For where we're building, well, actually, the wastewater plant right now has no internet per se. They bounce off an antenna from the water tower, so it's really intermittent. The SCADA package was part of the wastewater plant. Between Walters, Morgan, Earls, and myself, we've negotiated with Epic Touch, and they will run the fiber from 15th down to the new wastewater plant. And they are, as you can see, our cost is $10,000 for, what was that link, Tim, do you remember?
About 13,000 feet, lineal feet.
It's pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've seen numbers upwards of $17 a foot from other installers. So that length for that cost is a very, very good deal.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. And I mean, and
that's trenched, sorry.
Yeah, and that's part of our wastewater package anyway, so it's not, I mean, it'll go under the loan. It's all part of the construction loan to have that package. But I just wanted to share that with you, that what Epic Touch has done for the community as far as the rate. That was really good. The wastewater plant on page 2, they'll have the 100 by 100 to run their SCADA and their internet. And that rate will be $275 a month. And the animal control is in the same shape as the wastewater, so we're going to go ahead and piggyback off the Epic when they run by there, and they will be at 150, right? And the other thing is we go by the ball fields, we're going to, and we found that pinpoint, anyway, out around where that well house is, somewhere we'll put a point-to-point antenna so that there will be internet service at the ball fields so that we can live stream, do different, or people that do have streaming, they can stream the ball games. And they're looking at picking up, of course, the 3 businesses that are along the way, and possibly the new one that's going in behind Wilson Trailer. So they're looking at 4 new potential customers. So just wanted to apprise you guys on what's going on with the broadband, and if Tim wants to clear anything up, or Taylor.
Well,
that's a good explanation right there.
Yeah. Well, and anything we can do to support Epic. Epic is as small business as a medium-sized business gets, and we're very privileged to have them in this community because they are definitively the only ISP that's putting any kind of investment into our community right now. So we need to try to support them as much as possible throughout all the businesses and the private or the personal people's homes, and try to get them to spread like a virus throughout Liberal, because if we could get them in every jurisdiction of Liberal, we'd all be better off for it. So thank you very much to them for giving us the availability of getting it done so affordably.
We'd have internet for our school students.
Yeah. And of course, I want to thank the staff. As like I said, last couple of weeks I've missed a lot more work than I normally would. Hopefully that gets straightened out. But I just want to thank everybody's been doing a great job. Of course, the street striping is still, it's really taken off under Kent and with Keith over there. I think we've seen a real improvement on that part of it. We've got the other streets, the Pro Seal went in. They look real good. I've gotten good reports on the Arcalen Road after they chip sealed it. And I can tell you right now, between Mike with the chip seal company and Dallas, they're recommending that we do it again next year because in all honesty, we should have double primed and chip sealed, but we're trying to get by with what we can get by. This way it gets worked in good. And I told Dallas, I said, well, you find the money, they'll probably let you do it. And I think that's about it.
Awesome.
Lynn, do you have anything?
I do not think.
Well, I'll start us off. I want to thank Chief Cutshaw and his officers and staff for the excellent security and planning that they did for the pop-up Trump rally. And I want you to compliment KSCB on the good advertisements they have been doing for the 1-cent sales tax. They explain it very well and get right to the point of why we need it. Keep Commissioner Tony Martinez, who's not here, and his father, John Martinez, in your prayers and wish them well. Seward County Council of Governments meet this coming Thursday, September 24th, 2020 at 7 a.m. at the depot. That's all I have.
No comments?
I'm good for tonight.
Me too.
If we could, Earl just slipped in if he's got a couple comments. I told him
Hi, Earl.
I didn't do as good a job as you did, but I did run with it.
Need me to come up or can I?
No, you're good there, I think, unless they want you to come up.
Either way. Yeah, either way.
Well, I just want to say thanks. We want to do our job to inform the public and get the word out and make sure they know what's at stake and make sure that this 10-year, $40 million plan can get the approval of the people of the community. So that takes some work moving forward to get that word out. So I appreciate you guys supporting that effort so that we can continue to do that work and keep the public informed on the impact and the significance of renewing the 1-cent sales tax. So thank you.
Thank you guys for everything you're doing. Also, Lonnie, did you?
I do. Is it okay?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead. Come up to the podium.
Okay. Hello, everyone. How are you all?
Doing well. Good evening.
My name is Lonnie Whitaker.
Also, your address, real quick. Your home address.
2135 Northwestern, apartment 1C, Liberal, Kansas, 67901.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. How's everyone doing?
Doing good. How are you doing?
I am great. I would like, before I do anything, I want to know if it's okay for permission. The times that I've been here, and I heard Kathleen speak, she's very passionate, and I can see the pain that she's experiencing, with her community, immigrant community. And before I do anything, would it be okay if I work with her to develop some kind of plan of action or solutions that we can present to you all to help the issues?
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure it was okay before I start doing stuff. Y'all like, no, you can't do it.
No,
make sure.
no, absolutely. You can absolutely do that.
Okay, cool.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lonnie.
I have one more thing, Commissioners. The Black Hills Energy meeting, I don't know if you've received your emails, but they are going to have a Zoom update on everything going on, and that's October 6th. I don't know if that's really considered an open meeting or not because it is a Zoom meeting, but just wanted to remind you all that is October 6th from 4 to 5 on Zoom.
Perfect. Your legal opinion.
It's going to be hard for us to get snacks and breakfast from them.
Well, and I think any kind of Zoom conference is going to be pretty good come quorum.
Correct.
Yeah, so if all the commissioners plan on being there, we need to announce it as a public meeting.
So
and
that's why I just wanted to remind everyone and
Yeah.
have it open and announce in the open meeting.
Fantastic. Thank you, Alicia.
Anything else? We'll move on and approve the vouchers then.
Make a motion that we approve the vouchers in the amount of $1,220,978.23.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Harden, second by Commissioner Lindenbrofer to approve the vouchers in an amount of $1,220,978.23. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. The next item is executive session.
Make a motion to go into executive session for 15 minutes to discuss acquisition of real property pursuant to KSA 754319B6, which is the preliminary discussions relating to the acquisition of real property exemption under Kansas open meetings, and include City Attorney Kane, City Manager Calvin Burke, Financial Director Chris Ford, Street Department Director Jesus Cardenas, fantastic, and City Zoning Director Kevin Kirk. To the executive session, we will go in at 6:30, and we will come back out at 6:45.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Harden to go into executive session, second by Commissioner Warren. Any discussion? All in favor? We're dismissed for executive session.
It took me back to the time they had me announce the baseball names. I butchered every single one of them.
I remember that.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
65 days a year to get you the answers you need, and you'll only wait about 13 seconds to talk to a live person right here in the whole U.S. Folks, I personally use Health Equity. Sign up now at healthequity.com. Guys, talk about generosity. I heard something the other day that blew my mind. This year alone, you, Dave Ramsey Show listeners, are on pace to add over $150 million in gifts to your local churches and favorite charities through your wills with Mama Bear legal forms. If you haven't started your will, or you've had life changes like new babies, go to mamabearlegalforms.com today and get Sundays on Talk Radio.
Radio 1270. Sports Radio, KSCB Liberal. The Kansas City Royals on KSCB Talk Radio 1270 are brought to you by Friends Construction, American Ag Credit, GNRC, and Keating Tractor and Equipment. Please help us thank these sponsors for making this Royals broadcast possible. It's the Kansas City Royals on Talk Radio 1270, KSCB Liberal. Your pregame chat with Royals manager Mike Matheny. The Royals victorious in Game 1 of the series last night, and I'll tell you, Mike, the bullpen last night was unbelievable. They were dominant. The Cardinals had only 2 singles after the 4th inning. He had some fun walks, and I thought Carlos did a nice job. He had some adjustments he needed to make after his first start, and they did a nice job when he continued to pitch. He attacked hitters, and he had to trust that we were going to get him out when we needed to get him out. He was about at that pitch count that Cal Eldred had said. He was about 70, 72 pitches, so we knew we needed to probably make a move, and when you do that, before the 4th inning's over, you're going to put a pretty high toll on that bullpen. But you watch Jake Newberry come in and really do a nice job, and watching each guy just run right after another. We changed Scott Barlow, moved him up a little bit to give him a different look, and he responded extremely well. Josh Demott, I thought, was a real bright spot in the day, being able to go 2. We needed somebody to go 2 innings for us. He was efficient, went through 11 pitches in his first inning, and allowed him to come back out, and I thought his stuff was really electric at first, and then he pushed Jesse on a little deeper in the game, and he looked as good as ever, and Greg Holland continues to impress us. And, what a great step this bullpen has taken this year, and have so many different faces kind of taking some big roles and running with it. Yeah, it's interesting how you use different guys in different innings and different situations, although it seems like Greg Holland now has kind of emerged as your ninth inning pitcher. He has, and I do think, just like we started the season, we knew Greg had the ability to throw the ninth. He's done it extremely well, especially in this uniform. We watched Trevor Rosenthal do that as well, but we kind of went at that idea, let's try and put the best match up at this particular time. But the way the guys have been throwing, we've had multiple options, and then throwing that ninth, it's a tough role, and you've watched this more than any of us, how there's just certain guys that can handle the pressure of throwing the ninth inning, and so it's actually fun to watch where you push a guy maybe 1 inning back to where he normally was and just see how they respond. But every challenge we've been given, almost all of these pitchers, they've responded exceptionally well and are showing they're ready for the next challenge. Mike, offensively, last night, it was pretty impressive the way the guys were using the opposite field. They always say not trying to do too much, whatever that means, but really some productive hits the other way. Yeah, and one of the stands out maybe as much as today is the one that Franco was able to have in a big situation with men in scoring position, and getting to 2 strikes, working the count, waiting to see how the defense was aligned, but more importantly than anything else is putting the ball in play. We watched Alex Gordon do that earlier in the game. We had Michael Franco, not a plus runner. We know his legs are banged up, but we go on contact. Gordon just puts the ball in play. We said that a number of times, and think about how many times this season we've had that opportunity with the bases loaded, even with the infield back. If we can put the ball in play, we're putting pressure on the defense. Probably just start chipping away where we can get a run, and that run that Gordon was able to drive in, and later turns on an opportunity for Franco to get the big hit to give us a lead. And I like the way that you were able to insert Soler back into the lineup. I'm sure that's the lineup last night that you would have liked to have seen for all 60 games. Yeah, no question. I'd like to see it for 162 and keep throwing him in there and watching Morty do what he does so well. We've tried to get him healthy, but there's really only been a really short period of time this season where we've seen him locked in, kind of how he was for a good part of the season last year that led to the 48 home runs. But this is a difference maker in the lineup. You saw as he got the head out and drove the ball down the left field line, watching the ball come off his bat. When he gets into big counts and he has good strike zone management, it's unique what he does. Not many people can do. I heard the guys in the press conference prior to this chat wish you happy birthday. I'll tell you what, you're on the 40. That's amazing. That camera worked instead of everything. That's pretty impressive. Great makeup on the thing. You look great. Happy birthday. Good luck tonight. Thank you, sir. And that's our pregame
events, call 816-229-4468. Online at outdoorrestrooms.com. Let's just try not to embarrass ourselves and everything will be fine. I've got a Pepsi vanilla. Oh no, please not hear that now. Oh, too late. Steve. It's flavor time, baby, and we're coming to you live. The scoop is capping the city. Pepsi vanilla. It's not flavor time. The flavor's so rich and it tastes so smooth. It's delicious and it's refreshing. Seriously, does this always have to happen when you drink Pepsi vanilla? Yeah, baby. Pepsi vanilla. Now available in zero sugar. That's what I like. Welcome back to the Kansas City area Chevy Dealers pregame show. The weather update brought to you by the 41 Action News Weather Team. Once again rated Kansas City's most accurate forecast. 74 now will be 69. At 10 o'clock tonight, tomorrow, a high of 76. Royals Charities broadcast auction is all new for 2020. Check out favorite bundles from some of your favorite players, including snacks and autographed items. The limited number of mystery bags for Hillsburg Diamonds are $100 each. Every bag has a gorgeous piece of jewelry. The selection includes watches, earrings, pendants, and more with retail values from at least $100 up to $2,800. It all starts September 24th. Learn more at royals.com/broadcast auction or by texting Royals to 74121. Bob Kendrick coming up next to talk about a special night here at Kauffman Stadium. This is the Kansas City area Chevy Dealers pregame show. Teams become successful when everyone works together. Our Sand is a family-owned business that's been blessed to have employees that understand that it takes the whole team, from our team to yours. Our Sand wishes all area athletes, cheerleaders, dance teams, bands, and drama departments, and academic teams the best of luck as you work together to become a successful team. Time is running out to self-respond to the 2020 census, but it's not too late. If you respond online, by phone, or by mail, the 2020 census is important and is your chance to define your household and your community. Self-responding now may decrease the likelihood that a census worker comes to your door. Respond today at my2020census.gov or call 844-330-2020 to ensure Kansas counts in 2020. Brought to you by the League of Kansas Municipalities and this radio station. Those Hendricks drive all the work around his work jackets, overalls, and boots to all kinds of gloves and safety gear. But did you know they also have a huge selection of clothes every day? From casual and work clothes and shoes by great brands like Ariat, Cinch, and Ford, cowboy hats and baseball caps. Check out their line of concealed carry jackets and bags. Please stop by Standard Supply, Liberal and Diamond, doing the chores with you for over 50 years. You've been in close relationships in the past, but this is different, very different. You're absolutely positive that this is the person you want to spend the rest of your life with. Sweet love Murphy with a breathtaking engagement ring from Stats Jewelers. We have the perfect style ring to suit your mind to be, backed with our reputation for quality service. Visit Stats Jewelers, your wedding jewelry designers in Limo. Welcome back to the Kansas City area Chevy Dealers pregame show. The Royals and the Cardinals, and they're going to be wearing special uniforms tonight to talk about that. A lot of other things circuit from Bob Kendrick, the president of the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum. Great to have you on with us tonight. The Royals wearing 1945 Kansas City Monarchs unis, and the Cardinals wearing 1930 St. Louis Stars uniforms. They're going to look spectacular. I know I've seen pictures of them. Tell me about the significance of these two clubs we're kind of commemorating tonight. To God, about two very important things, and it also kind of commemorates the 1925 Negro National League Championships between the Monarchs and the Stars. And the Monarchs would come out victorious, and they go on to play in the 1925 Negro League World Series after having won the World Series in 1924. And unfortunately for our hometown Monarchs, California Bud Logan broke his leg and wasn't able to play that World Series. And so the Hillsville team beat us in 1925, but we beat the Stars to get to the World Series. So kind of renews that rivalry 95 years later. For the 1930 St. Louis Stars, we're talking about players like Hall of Famers Willie Wells, Cole Cliff and Leroy Matlock. Question true, great catchers on the teams that have a dynamite team in 1930. The 1945 Kansas City Monarchs is a particularly important team. It wasn't one of the great Monarch teams because so many of the Monarch stars in 45 were in the service. And 45 teams, of course, had Jackie Robinson on that team. And so Jackie makes his Negro Leagues debut with the 1945 Kansas City Monarchs, which, believe it or not, still to this day, there are a lot of baseball fans who have no idea that Jackie Robinson's illustrious professional career began in the Negro Leagues right here in Kansas City in 1945. And so as I oftentimes say before, he was number 4.
So the sound's back on. That's why I said my big old head.
Thank you, guys.
Like a lot of people stayed around.
It's a packed house.
We can wade through these.
Does the commission wish to take any action as a result of the executive session?
No action.
No action taken. Meeting will be adjourned. Thank you.